Welcome to Powered by Her, exploring the stories of how area women power their business. Hear from the growing network of female entrepreneurs of the Upper Cumberland with your host, Tiffany Anton, director at the Biz Foundry. Powered by Her starts now.
Hello, you're listening to Powered by Her in the Hinton Oakley Podcast Center. Today I have Lindsey Bruce with me, and I'm really excited to talk more about her overall journey into entrepreneurship. Good morning.
Good morning.
So you started with Lenny and Eva, correct?
I did, yes.
And so that's kind of your main hat that you wear, but that was not enough for you. So you have an offshoot of...
I do, yes. So I also, I work Lenny and Eva full time and all the brands that we have there and love that. And then on top of that, I kind of do some basically the same work, but for other local businesses. They don't have to be local, but that's primarily who I work with, doing a lot of the same things. So some digital marketing, social media management, a little bit of design, that sort of thing.
And that's Lindsey Bruce Creative.
Yes.
And so that's kind of what you do for your full-time job. You're able to help other small businesses, either local or I mean...
Could be remote, yeah.
The world is your oyster these days with the internet, so you can have clients all over. So let's go back to the beginning a bit. Mm-hmm. So as a kid... What were your passions? What were your talents as a kid growing up?
I definitely would say that I was creative. We have some members of our family who are really artistic. And so watching that, I would definitely say I picked up on that creative gene. Kelly, the founder of Lenny and Eva, is my cousin. So watched her do all her creative stuff as well. So yeah, I would definitely say that I have a creative background.
So not to put too much ageism out there, but Kelly is a little bit older than you.
She is, yes.
So how old were you when Lenny and Eva started?
I can't do math that fast. So Lenny and Eva was founded in 2009, and then I started in early 2012. So I was I was early 20s.
Okay,
early 20s
when it started.
When I started,
okay.
Yes.
So, so you were a teenager, kind of watching this, and so were you interested in this company that was starting? So, Lenny and Eva, for our listeners, is a women's jewelry brand, to kind of wear jewelry to express where you're at in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's an inspirational jewelry brand. Some interchangeability in that inspiration as well was kind of what founded the initial concept, was being able to kind of choose your mantra or whatever inspiration that you needed for that day or that season of your life, be able to wear it on your bracelet as a reminder. And then as women, I think that we change our minds basically hourly, or especially every day, and with different seasons and chapters of our lives. And so you can change out that inspiration as you need it.
When you're a teenager watching this company kind of start, and in Baxter, you grew up in Baxter, you're a local girl too.
Yeah.
And so what made you... Were you interested in it, or were you just like, oh, that's, Kelly doing her thing?
So Kelly was kind of secretive when she first started it. And I actually saw a bracelet at the market on the square in Cookeville before I ever even knew that it was her. So I saw a bracelet a Lenny and Eva bracelet at the market shopping. And I think it was Christmas or Thanksgiving, not really sure. All the family got together, and I was like, oh, I saw this really cute bracelet at the market. And then Kelly and my aunt kind of look at each other, and then my aunt's like, can I tell her?
Oh,
and so then she told me. So that is actually how I found out. It was a little bit kind of on the hushed in the beginning. Wow. And so I liked it before I ever even knew that it was hers.
That's so interesting, because it is such a family brand and family company. And so I just, picture in the Christmas newsletter, like Kelly saying, we're all starting this company together.
Oh, no. She's a quiet succeeder, I think.
So were you interested, what made you want to get involved with that company?
Yeah. So I worked in a really corporate job, all through college. I was going to college, and they were phasing out the department that I was working in, which was definitely a blessing, because I probably would have stayed there just because it was comfortable longer than what I should have. So I was in between jobs. I knew Kelly kind of had this at the time, didn't realize how big it was, but I kind of was like, I knew she ran her own business. She worked from home. And so I was in between jobs trying to decide what I was going to do. And I just texted one day and I was like, hey, I don't know if you need any extra help, but I've got time, I'm not working right now if you need some extra hands. And it was very much you can come and maybe part-time and we'll do a little bit. And then I think I was there for like 2 days and she was like, okay, do you want to be full-time? Because it was really busy at the time. So it went from maybe you could help me pack out some boxes to you're going to stay here for a while.
And what were you, so you mentioned college. Did you go to Tennessee Tech?
I did. I went to Tennessee Tech.
And were you doing graphic design or photography or like that kind of business type stuff there?
I got a business marketing degree. So that's definitely was my interest all the way through college. I just didn't really know exactly what type of job I wanted while I was in college or even right after. I was kind of still figuring that out. And then, like I said, I went to Lenny and Eva to pack out boxes. I mean, not to use my degree in any way. It was just I was really trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then it kind of turned into my dream job.
So at the time when you entered Lenny and Eva, do you think that they were doing branding, marketing okay enough at the time? Or
Oh, yeah. I mean, I definitely think that Kelly has always had a really good eye for that stuff as well. And she really knew her brand. So I mean, I think that we've developed that and changed it a million times, over the years. But she's always had I think, a really good concept of her brand. Do you think
you had the confidence to know that you had some skills to bring other than packing boxes to the table too?
Yeah. I mean, I think that I
probably not right away.
I would not say that I was like super confident and I'm the expert at this.
Yeah.
But I think definitely a personality of I could figure out how to do anything. And so if we had a need there, whether it be packing out boxes or we had a need to create a, newsletter or whatever it was, I would be like, okay, I can do it. I'll do it. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. You're listening to Powered by Her in the Hints and Oakley Podcast Center. I'm Tiffany Anton with the Biz Foundry. And we have Lindsey Bruce, who works full-time for Lenny and Eva, but you have your own side thing as well. So at what point in this journey did you decide, I kind of like this and I want to do a little bit more with this and I want to help other people do what we're doing?
Yeah. I would say it probably got really serious for me in the last couple of years. And it really started with a friend who knew that I worked at Lenny and Eva, knew what I did at Lenny and Eva. And she was like, hey, I really want to do this website. I have no idea like what I want to put on here. I need some pictures. Can you just come take some pictures for me? Can you help me? How do you do email marketing? Like, where do I start? And she had tons of questions and just had no background at all in starting that. And so it really started with me just offering some help to her. And then I was like, oh, well, that was fun. Like, that was a lot of fun. I got to help her kind of launch that and grow her business a little bit more. Hopefully that all helped her. And so then I was like, I could do this. Like, I have enough time to do this a little bit. And
where did you gain the skills for photography like that? Did you, I mean, because you are a great photographer.
I started taking pictures at Lenny and Eva, so I take a lot of the product photography there. We do have little mini, photo shoots at the office all the time, and so I just think over the years, Kelly's been like, oh, you should do this or you should try this, and she was a photographer in a past life as well, and so I think it just kind of slowly developed.
So you have never taken any formal photography classes or anything like that? How did you self-teach editing of photography and stuff like that?
Yep. Yes, I think you can figure anything out if you have the time to do it.
It's amazing to me at this point in the world or technology that what is open to us. And then I think I had a guest on here a couple months ago, and she had started a nonprofit 20 years ago. And I'm like, how do you even know how to do that?
Yeah.
There's no internet around. Like, we're just in this age where we, like, everything's at our fingertips, and we don't even think about, like, going to the library or reading a book to figure out how to do photography.
Yeah, so. I mean, I think now there's definitely times, even now, that I'm like, I wonder if there's a better way to do that. Or taking online classes. I listen to podcasts regularly. I would definitely say I'm an addict. I take lots of online courses. I try to just...
How do you weed out what's a good online course as opposed to a useless online course?
Yeah. Usually I'll start with like a free. Most of the time, if any legitimate course creator is going to have some type of freebie or a free course or a free worksheet or something that you can kind of sample their work a little bit. And if it seems like they're on the right track of something that I might need to know how to do, then I'll usually start with something free and then say, okay, yeah, I think they could teach me something, and then I'll pay for their course.
So when you decided to help this one woman with her business, what made you decide, okay, I'm going to be legitimate with this. I'm going to have this be a side business or maybe possibly a full business at some point. So what path did you go on? I know Kelly was probably a great mentor for you.
For sure.
But what pushed you to say, okay, I really want to do this?
Honestly, I had a lot of fun doing it. It wasn't necessarily that I needed something else to do. I have 3 kids and I work full time. So it was just fun and I enjoyed doing it and it helped her a lot.
I think sometimes that people think that there's a sickness or something. Like that's your hobby is to work more. What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that's everybody needs to find their passion, and whether your passion is painting, for yourself on the side, or working more and doing photography or helping out entrepreneurs, it's your passion. So
it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like fun.
Yes, which is kind of some of the stuff that I get to do in my job. I feel the same way. It's like, well, I really love it, so it doesn't feel like work, which is kind of the way it should be, right?
Absolutely.
So you just mentioned that you have 3 kids.
I do.
So tell me, so our listeners are mainly women. And so tell me a little bit what that's like, having a full-time job, a company that you're essentially running, and having, and you have a small guy
he's 10 weeks.
10 weeks old, who looks like he's about 3 years old.
He was a chunk for sure. He's a chunk.
So how do you do that?
Lots of planning. For sure. And it's a juggle. I wouldn't say that I spend, hours and hours pouring into my business every single day. I mean, some days my kids take all of my attention, and then some days I get, some time and I'm squeeze it in whenever I can, and I work after they go to bed. I wake up before they do.
Do you think as women, it's easier to be a better mom when you're filling your soul as well?
For sure.
So I think when you're just concerned about one thing and you're not really making sure that you're doing the things that you're passionate about too, then you feel all scattered and frazzled. Think back to, so how old's your oldest?
6. He'll be 7 this month.
Okay, so think back 7 years ago or 5, 6, and as a young new mom, and probably thinking I'm gonna, we just made the joke about the sign on your car seat that says hand sanitize and all that stuff. We have in our minds that we have to be these perfect mothers, and think of probably how much more efficient you are these days.
Oh, for sure. I don't think that I would be doing everything that I'm doing now after my first. I definitely think that I had that. I have to spend all my free time with my kids, and I can't ever leave them for 5 seconds. And everyone that touches them needs to be wearing a bubble suit so that they don't get sick. And then the second one comes along and you're like, if you want to wear that, I don't, I'm picking my battles these days. I have 2 kids to get ready. If you want to wear, an orange shirt and purple shoes, whatever. And then by the 3rd kid, I'm like, it's just a lot more lax in some things.
Do you think
I'm like, whatever makes them happy and what makes me happy, I don't really care what other people think. We
probably kind of have to go through all that as moms to kind of get to where we need to be. But do you think if you could have thought, okay, I'm just gonna, it's all gonna be okay, and I can work full time and I can do my passions and still be about, do you think that we'd overall be better mothers and be just kind of better people if we could relax a little bit in the beginning?
I mean, even not related to motherhood. I think that as women, we spend a lot of time concerned with other people's perceptions of us and being like, if I go and I work full time, then I'm not the best mother. If I'm a stay-at-home mom, then I'm going to be judged for not providing for my family, or whatever those kind of insecurities of our own are. And I think the sooner that, I think in Rachel Hollis's book, it's one of my favorite quotes. It was like, no one else's opinion or other people's opinion of you is none of your business. And I think as soon as you kind of get to a point in your life where, you don't really care what other people think, if you're happy and your family's happy and you're healthy, and then that's all that really matters.
Yeah. We're going to get more into the details of your business in a second. You're listening to Powered by Her in the Hints and Oakley Podcast Center. I'm Tiffany Anton, and we have Lindsey Bruce here. And Lindsey, so let's talk a little bit about really getting started. What were the first steps that you took once you kind of did this on the side? You understand brand awareness, photography, logos and colors and that kind of stuff. So then how do you convert that to a business? How do you actually start and go, okay, I'm legit, and say, okay, I'm going to create Lindsey Bruce Creative instead of just, this is just my thing on the side?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that it's important to monetize wherever you're spending your time if it's something that is of value to people. And I think once I kind of helped my friend out and saw how much value that brought to her business, and I'm like, that's something I can offer to other people, and my time is valuable. I mean, I work full time. I have 3 kids. Yeah. I mean, I want to be able to provide extras for them too. And so I think that's kind of where it just started. It was like, if I'm going to spend so much of my time kind of doing this, then I need to monetize it.
So you decided to monetize it. Did you create a website first?
I did. So I got legal, officially get all your legalities done. And then, I started a website, and then kind of gave my social media pages a little bit of a facelift, and then started promoting it.
Yeah. And then did you get people to come right away, or did you struggle with kind of getting the right clientele?
Yeah, I would definitely say that I got a lot of inquiries like right at the beginning. And I think because I do work full time, and this is not necessarily supporting my family, is I'm able to be a little bit picky, and I'm able to say, you're not the perfect fit for what I do. And I'm not, just grasping at clients coming in all the time. And I think that,
was that tough for you to say, maybe this isn't the right client for me to work with?
I would say yes and no. Yes, it's always hard to kind of recognize that, I think. But then at the same time, I have to be realistic with my time, my commitments. And so if I don't think that that's absolutely something that I can help them do, or if I'm 100% confident that I have enough time to do that, then I think, like I said, I'm in a position that I can say, hey, I think these girls might be better for you, or this other business, is really more in your niche, and I think that they would work out better for you.
Have you had any? So we're trying to make sure that people are either inspired to start a business or they're aware. So what are some pitfalls that you can come along the way of when you're starting a business? Maybe clients that are difficult to work with, or that awkward situations that you've been put in. Can you tell us about any of that maybe sticks out in your mind?
I honestly have had excellent clients. Everyone that I've worked with has been kind of a joy. Really, it's been a lot of fun. So I don't necessarily say I have any difficult clients, but for me, it would just be more time management, I think, and not getting, there are definitely times when I get really absorbed into something and I'm like, okay, it's midnight, Lindsey, go to bed. It kind of using your time. And I know that if I've sat and stared at something for too long, then, or if something's frustrating me, that I'm not producing my best work. So I think for me, it would just be kind of recognizing that and not spending so much time just poring over something, take a break, walk away, go work out, go to bed, do something else and then come back.
I did see on your website that you do have planners available.
Oh, yeah.
On your website. Is that because you're so...
Absolutely. If it's not written down, it's not getting done in my book.
Are you a phone planner kind of person, or you have to write it?
I do. I physically have to write it down at some point, but if I'm on the go, I will put it in my phone. I'll make a note of it, whatever. But then, every night or morning, I'm going to go back to my phone, make sure I have everything written in a physical planner, and then I create a to-do list every single day.
I always want to have a physical, like, I think it's pretty, I think it looks, but then I'm like, I never have that planner with me. Right. So I'm like, my phone's the only thing that
Mine's in my bag. You have to bring it with you.
I did see
it's a habit. It's a habit.
A big bag. So what are some words of encouragement you have for some women who are maybe thinking about starting a business, or they're in it and they're just kind of struggling a little bit? What do you think you could tell them that might be useful?
I mean, I would just say, just do it. I mean, if they're on the fence about starting a business, then, I mean, I think you have to be smart and make sure that you're in a position, that you've either saved enough money that you can really pursue it, or you've got a, kind of your side hustling it for a minute. But, I think just do it. I don't think that there's any reason that anyone couldn't own a business at any point in their life. I think you can work full time and have your own business.
Yeah, and just follow your passion.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if it's fun and it's something you enjoy doing, then it's not going to feel like work. It's not going to feel like a burden to do.
What is next for Lindsey Bruce Creative?
I don't know. I definitely want to keep doing what I'm doing.
Do you think you'll grow it to, you mentioned that you have clients. How did you find clients that are not local?
So honestly, just through my website and through social media. I, definitely spend time posting something every single day about my business and updating my website regularly. So, I mean, I've worked with people all the way in California, have reached out. And so the internet these days, I think you can reach anyone, as long as you're being consistent, in your online presence. And what's next is, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we'll keep growing it, keep going. Maybe we'll.
Do you see yourself doing it full time?
No.
Because you don't want to let go of Lenny and Eva, or because
because for sure
that's where your heart really lies.
Yeah, I mean that's just as much fun to me working there. So
we're going to talk a little bit more about your social media in a second. You're listening to Powered by Her in the Hints and Oakley Podcast Center. I have Lindsey Bruce with me from Lenny and Eva and Lindsey Bruce Creative, and I'm Tiffany Anton with the Biz Foundry. So you mentioned your social media and that you're posting all the time. And that's how people find you. Mm-hmm. I find it really interesting, and you and I have had this conversation about the book. Jab, 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 right? Okay. I didn't know how many, I couldn't remember how many jabs there were in there, but
jab, 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 hook.
Hook, okay. So tell me a little bit about, I find it very interesting the way, do you do Lenny and Eva's social media?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I find it very interesting often how the social, like just when I pull up the Instagram page, it's very pretty. Mm-hmm. It's not just here, buy my product, buy my product, buy my product. And so tell me about that. Were you in part of that when you kind of made a switch in the marketing plan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So tell me, that's got to be scary. It's got to be scary to like think, okay, we're not going to just keep saying buy my. Yes. We're gonna pivot this and tell me about that.
Yeah. So we kind of, like you mentioned, the jab, 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 hook. And honestly, I don't remember exactly where we came across that. I'm sure it was in a podcast originally. And we're like, that's brilliant. I mean, no one wants to follow someone's social media if every single time they're posting, it's buy something from me,
explain a little bit about what the book is.
Yeah. So basically it's you need to provide value outside of buy something from me. So you should be providing something to your followers that's not asking them for any money at all. So whether that be inspirational content or tips and tricks or some behind the scenes of how you do something. And those should all just be things that you're doing regularly. And then every, 3 or 4 posts that are offering value to your customers, then you say, okay, hey, don't forget, I have this, and you hit them with a hook.
So you decided, okay, you found this book, thought, well, there's something to this. Mm-hmm. Why,
well, I mean, I definitely think kind of social media for business has shifted in that people are always eager for information, and they want, I think that when you provide value to your followers, like I said, in any, whatever that work means for you, for Lenny and Eva specifically, that's inspiration. So all of our posts are going to be, our jewelry is inspiring. So our posts are going to be inspiring too. And so the more value that you provide to your followers, the more that they're going to trust you, the more that they like you. And I think when you improve that trust factor, then you'll see that money follow.
Yeah.
And those sales follow.
So you decided to kind of switch and turn things over. And were you scared at the time to do that, or it just all made sense? And
it just made sense. Yeah. I mean,
do this.
Yeah, I think it made sense for us. And I think it felt more authentic to what we did as a brand, was to, be an inspiration. That's right. Our goal. So it felt really natural process for us.
Putting the social media out there that way. And so then how did you take that to Lindsey Bruce Creative, which your social media is just Lindsey Bruce, right?
Yes. Okay. So it, I honestly applied a lot of the same concepts. I enjoy being really motivational and inspirational for women. I enjoy following accounts that are, empowering women or motivating women. And so I kind of follow the same formula. And
that is very interesting, putting out there what you want to see for the world, right?
Yeah.
I think I was, into like following People magazine kind of things and like the celebrity gossip kind of stuff. And I'm like, this is not good for me. This is not feeding my soul. This is not making me feel more motivated. And, but then, being able to be one of those sources that you put out there, good content for other people, even from your personal page, which is, personal half.
What's the quote? Your vibe attracts your tribe.
There you go. Yeah.
So I think
is that on a,
it's not, but maybe it should
there
be.
You go. Right? Now we just created your next, sentiment that you guys are going to.
That's right.
Sounds good. You better write it down. Anything else that you would like to tell listeners, about yourself or about kind of who are thinking in that direction, like I said, starting a business, or anything else that you want to kind of throw out there?
Again, I think I would just encourage anyone who is thinking about starting their own business or feels like they have a really great idea is to just pitch it to somebody, and maybe not your family.
Yes.
Pitch it to someone who is successful. And I always say, if you're the most successful person in a room, then you should find a new room.
Yes.
Because I think everyone can grow and everyone can get better personally and in business. And so I would just say, just throw it out there, pitch it to somebody and get some feedback, and maybe you'll get some good advice on something that you didn't think about, or some area that you might not have thought about and that might be a pitfall for your business. And then you can kind of tweak it. And then I think that every entrepreneur changes. Like, I don't think that anyone started their business and it's exactly the same as when they started it. I think that everybody grows and changes, and, your website might look really bad when you first start, and your social media might not be that great, and you might not be really good at taking pictures right when you start, but the more you do it, the better you're going to get. And
and the thing is too, I'm sure that first website iteration that you started with like a few years ago.
It's already changed.
You're probably like, that was not. I thought it was so good at the time, but it was not.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's okay. I think people, grow with you, and they like what you're doing then, and they'll grow with you as you build up your. You provide like almost some trust in you as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I think it's okay to say I don't have it all figured out.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to convince anyone that you're the expert and you're the only person that knows how to do this. I think it's completely normal to say, hey, I started this business, I'm figuring it out, and I'm going to do a really, really good job, and then I'm going to continue to get better.
Yeah.
As you go.
Well, thank you for joining me today. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
And good luck. How can people find you, Lindsey Bruce, on Instagram?
Yeah, so on my website is lindseyjade.co, and you can also find me on Instagram there as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. You're listening to Powered by Her in the Hinton Oakley Podcast Center.